Hey everyone, the rumors are true. A $2,200 boost to Social Security is officially coming this May. The Treasury Department confirmed payment dates yesterday, and this isn't just another incremental adjustment. If you or someone you know receives Social Security benefits, this emergency relief money will start hitting accounts in just a few weeks. I've spent the morning digging through the official documents, and I'll break down exactly who qualifies, when you will receive your payment, and what this means for your financial planning in 2025. Whether you're a retiree, disabled, or a survivor dependent on these benefits, you need to understand what's happening. So, let's start with the basics. What exactly is this $2,200 payment? The Trump administration, responding to ongoing economic pressures facing seniors and disabled Americans, worked with Congress to pass what they're calling the Social Security Emergency Relief Act last month. This isn't a permanent increase to your monthly benefits, but rather a one-time supplemental payment designed to help beneficiaries manage rising costs in specific categories. According to the Social Security Administration's press release, this payment is specifically meant to offset increases in healthcare costs, prescription medications, and essential utilities that have outpaced the standard cost of living adjustments over the past year. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that while the general inflation rate has moderated to around 3.1% annually, healthcare costs have risen by nearly 9.2%, and prescription drug prices by 12.4% since last spring. Now, who exactly qualifies for this payment? To receive the full $2,200 boost, you need to be a current Social Security recipient as of March 31, 2025. Someone who has been receiving benefits for at least 3 consecutive months and has an annual benefit amount that falls below $39,000. If your annual benefits exceed $39,000 but remain under $62,500, you will receive a partial payment on a sliding scale. The SSA has published a calculator on their website where you can enter your information to determine your exact payment amount. What's interesting is that this payment applies across all Social Security programs: retirement benefits, disability insurance, SSDI, and supplemental security income, SSI. According to the Treasury Department, approximately 64 million Americans will receive some portion of this emergency relief funding. Now, for the practical details that matter most, when will you actually see this money? The Treasury Department has released the official payment schedule, which follows a staggered approach similar to regular monthly benefits. May 8th, electronic payments for those with birthdays between the 1st and 10th of the month. May 15th, electronic payments for birthdays between the 11th and 20th. May 22nd, electronic payments for birthdays between the 21st and 31st. May 28th, paper checks begin mailing for those who don't use direct deposit. If you currently receive your benefits via direct deposit, you'll get this supplemental payment the same way. No additional action is required on your part. The payment will appear in your account with the description SSA sub PMT according to the official guidance. Now, I think it's important to address some questions and concerns that many people have raised about this relief payment. First, is this taxable income? According to the legislation, this emergency relief payment will be treated the same way as your regular Social Security benefits for tax purposes. This means if your combined income, adjusted gross income plus non-taxable interest plus half of your Social Security benefits, exceeds $25,000 for individuals or $32,000 for married couples filing jointly, a portion may be subject to federal income tax. However, 15 states also tax Social Security benefits to varying degrees. So, check your local tax laws. A common question I've seen in comments on my previous videos: will this affect my other benefits? The good news is that according to the SSA's FAQ page, this payment will not count as income for determining eligibility for federal benefit programs like SNAP, Medicaid, or housing assistance for a period of 12 months after receipt. Now let's address some of the controversy around this payment. Critics, including several economists from the American Enterprise Institute, have argued that this type of one-time payment could actually contribute to inflation pressures, essentially creating a cycle where relief payments drive up prices, necessitating further relief. The Congressional Budget Office estimated that this relief package will add approximately $142 billion to the federal deficit. Supporters countered that seniors and disabled Americans on fixed incomes have been disproportionately affected by recent inflation, particularly in healthcare costs, and that targeted relief is necessary to prevent financial hardship. The Senior Citizens League, an advocacy group, released data showing that Social Security benefits have lost about 36% of their buying power since 2000, despite regular cost of living adjustments. I think it's worth noting that similar emergency payments have been issued before, most recently in 2009 during the Great Recession, when a $250 one-time payment was provided to Social Security recipients. However, this $2,200 payment represents the largest supplemental boost in the program's history when adjusted for inflation. Some financial advisors I've spoken with suggest that recipients consider using this one-time payment strategically. Margaret Wilson, a certified financial planner specializing in retirement planning, recommends that seniors consider allocating this money toward outstanding medical bills or prescriptions, building or replenishing emergency savings, necessary home repairs that affect safety or energy efficiency, or paying down high-interest debt. She specifically cautions against viewing this as free money for discretionary spending given the one-time nature of the payment and the continuing economic uncertainties. There's also been significant discussion about whether this emergency relief payment signals broader changes coming to Social Security. The program faces well-documented long-term funding challenges, with current projections showing that the trust fund will be depleted by 2034, at which point benefits would need to be reduced by approximately 22% unless Congress takes action. Some policy analysts view this emergency payment as potentially setting the stage for more comprehensive Social Security reform discussions. Mark Thompson, senior fellow at the Bipartisan Policy Center, noted in a recent analysis that providing this one-time relief may buy political goodwill needed to address the more difficult structural reforms that Social Security urgently requires. The White House has emphasized that this payment is a response to immediate economic pressures rather than a substitute for long-term program reforms. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen stated in a press conference last week that while this emergency relief addresses current needs, the administration remains committed to working with Congress on sustainable funding solutions for Social Security. For those concerned about potential scams, and you should be vigilant, the SSA has already issued warnings about fraudsters attempting to exploit this situation. Remember that the Social Security Administration will not call, email, or text you asking for personal information related to this payment. Require any action on your part to receive this payment if you're already receiving benefits, or ask for payment in any form to process your emergency relief funds. If you receive any suspicious communications claiming to be about this payment, report it immediately to the SSA's Office of the Inspector General. Another practical consideration is how this payment might affect your annual budget planning. Financial counselor David Chin suggests that recipients should treat this as truly supplemental funds rather than incorporating it into your regular budget expectations. Since this is currently designed as a one-time payment rather than a permanent increase, adjusting your spending patterns based on receiving this additional amount could create difficulties once the supplemental payment ends. For those who have been struggling with medical costs specifically, the timing of this payment aligns with the Medicare Part D donut hole period when many seniors face higher out-of-pocket prescription costs. Using part of this payment to cover that specific gap might be particularly strategic for those with high medication expenses. So, what's the bottom line here? A $2,200 emergency relief payment is definitively coming to most Social Security recipients beginning May 8, 2025. The payment will arrive automatically with no action required on your part. While this provides welcome financial relief for millions of Americans on fixed incomes who've been squeezed by rising costs, it doesn't address the long-term structural challenges facing Social Security. My prediction, this likely won't be the last emergency intervention we see for Social Security recipients in the coming years. The political pressure to provide relief to seniors and disabled Americans will continue until more comprehensive reforms are enacted. But the scale of this particular payment, $2,200 is significant, suggests that policymakers are increasingly recognizing the financial strain many beneficiaries are experiencing. If you're planning to receive this payment, my advice is to think carefully about how best to use these funds based on your specific financial situation and stay informed. I'll be following any updates or changes to the implementation timeline closely. What do you think about this emergency relief payment? Is it adequate given rising costs, or should more permanent solutions be considered? Let me know in the comments below.